November 24, 1971. Portland International Airport. It was the day before Thanksgiving, one of the busiest travel days of the year in the United States. Families hurried through the terminal, business travelers rushed to catch flights, and airport staff treated it like any other busy afternoon. Among the crowd was a man who looked completely ordinary. He appeared to be in his mid-40s, around 6 feet tall, wearing a dark business suit, a neatly pressed white shirt, a black tie fastened with a pearl tie clip, polished black shoes, and a raincoat. He carried nothing more than a simple black briefcase. No one looked at him twice. He calmly walked to the ticket counter and purchased a one-way ticket for Northwest Orient Airlines Flight 305, traveling from Portland, Oregon, to Seattle, Washington. The name on the ticket was Dan Cooper. No passport was required for domestic travel, and in 1971 airport security was nothing like it is today. There were no metal detectors, no body scanners, and no baggage screening. Buying a ticket with cash and boarding a plane without showing identification was completely normal. At approximately 2:50 p.m., Cooper boarded the Boeing 727. He chose seat 18C, near the back of the aircraft. As passengers settled into their seats, flight attendants welcomed everyone aboard. The atmosphere was relaxed. Some passengers read newspapers, others chatted quietly, while a few simply stared out the windows waiting for takeoff. Cooper ordered a bourbon and soda. He lit a cigarette, a common sight on airplanes during the early 1970s, and calmly watched the rain outside. Nothing about him suggested that history was about to be made. At exactly 2:58 p.m., Flight 305 lifted off from Portland. Everything seemed perfectly routine. About 15 minutes into the flight, Cooper quietly called over flight attendant Florence Schaffner. As she approached, Cooper handed her a folded note. At first, she assumed it was another passenger trying to flirt with her. Without opening it, she slipped the note into her purse. Cooper leaned toward her and spoke in a calm, controlled voice. "Miss, you'd better look at that note. I have a bomb." The words immediately changed everything. Florence slowly unfolded the paper. The message was short and direct. "I have a bomb in my briefcase. Sit beside me." Trying to remain calm, she sat down. Cooper quietly opened his briefcase just enough for her to look inside. She later reported seeing several red cylinders connected by wires and what appeared to be a battery. Whether it was a real bomb has never been confirmed. But at that moment, she believed it was real. And so did everyone else. Cooper remained remarkably calm. He never shouted. He never threatened anyone. He never panicked. Instead, he politely explained exactly what he wanted. He demanded $200,000 in cash, all in $20 bills. 4 parachutes, 2 main parachutes and 2 reserve parachutes. A fuel truck waiting in Seattle to refuel the aircraft immediately after landing. Florence carefully wrote down every instruction. She quietly carried the message to the cockpit. Within minutes, the pilots informed airline headquarters. Soon after, the FBI was alerted. The hijacking had begun. Inside the cabin, however, almost nothing had changed. Passengers continued reading magazines. Some looked out the windows. Others smiled and laughed, completely unaware that a man carrying what appeared to be a bomb was sitting only a few rows away. The flight attendants continued serving drinks and snacks to avoid raising suspicion. Meanwhile, Cooper remained patient. He even paid for his bourbon. Witnesses later described him as polite, respectful, and surprisingly calm. There was no anger in his voice. No unnecessary violence. Only quiet, confidence. As Flight 305 approached Seattle, authorities faced an impossible decision. Should they try to stop him? Or should they give him exactly what he wanted to protect the lives of everyone on board? Outside the airport, FBI agents, local police officers, airline executives, and federal officials rushed into emergency meetings. Banks quickly gathered $200,000 in cash. Every bill was carefully photographed so investigators could track the serial numbers later. Meanwhile, 4 parachutes were collected from a nearby skydiving school. No one knew why Cooper had requested 4. Investigators believed he wanted authorities to think he might force a hostage to jump with him, preventing them from secretly giving him defective parachutes. As darkness slowly settled over Seattle, Flight 305 circled the city for nearly 2 hours, buying time for officials to prepare the ransom. Passengers still had no idea how close they were to becoming part of one of America's greatest unsolved mysteries. Finally, shortly after 5:45 p.m., the aircraft landed safely at Seattle-Tacoma Airport. Police vehicles surrounded the runway from a distance. Floodlights illuminated the aircraft. Snipers watched from hidden positions. Every movement was carefully monitored. Yet inside the cabin, the mysterious man in seat 18C remained perfectly calm. He was only moments away from receiving $200,000. But what happened next would transform an ordinary hijacking into a mystery that has remained unsolved for more than half a century.